And I just started recording. It's going to be a bit late on the VODs, so I do apologise for anyone tuning in for the VODs. I just need to once again turn on sound, so you'll have to forgive me. And we do have Tempest starting off in the top right corner. I'm just going to quickly add on the top overlay, since that's not there yet. So yeah, in the top left, in the 2 o'clock position, we do have Tempest. And in the bottom right, we do have SKT T1's S2 in his first game in the tournament. And hold on, I'll just move across. There we go. Yeah, once again, if you're just tuning in, I am once again casting on my own. Quake Striker couldn't be around again, so you'll have to bear with my solo casting. I think I've got a little bit better since I first started playing, so I hope you enjoy the cast today, or if you watch the VODs. I saw like a few people have actually watched the VODs already, so I'm quite pleased with that, and I hope you enjoy the cast and the games that we've got coming out for you today. Yeah, both players look like they're opening relatively standard. It looks like Tempest is going to be adding his gateway, not going to try for any Nexus first, and S2 is going to be going for, it looks like he put his gas down to get that extra drone out, and wait, no, that's his, never mind, ignore me, his pool is going up on 11 supply though. He might be looking to put a little bit of pressure on, or maybe even just use it to pressure away this probe so he can put down his base a little bit easier. He's actually opting to drone scout, which is kind of interesting. He has found out the Tempest at the top of the map now, which is very useful for him. And Tempest actually choosing to open with 2 gates. Could see some 2 gate zealot pressure here. Of course, the pool of S2 is up now, or it will be up soon, so he won't have as much problem. But this probe is just going to be very annoying to try and stop this hatchery, but sadly for him, he moves just a bit too far away and doesn't get in the way to block it. So this probe is just going to grab some minerals and just scout around a bit more to make sure there's not going to be a flood of zerglings coming out towards his base. The first zealot is now out of the gateway and is going to move away this drone, as I'm not sure if he actually saw this, but he would have seen the 2 gateways coming. So he'll know to prepare some extra lings, knowing that there will be most likely zealot pressure coming. And very interestingly, oh, that's a pylon. I thought that was going to be the 7x4 there, so that was my bad. But yeah, the hatchery going up for S2, and the lings are just going to move out and try and pressure away this probe. It's going to be very difficult for them to catch the probe until he gets gas and speed, which he doesn't look like he's going to be doing. He's actually opting to add a lot of lings on, perhaps overreacting slightly to the 3 gateways, but with 3 zealots out, this isn't going to be enough lings. And a very nice maneuver by Tempest is actually going to bring the probe down as well to help wall off these lings from surrounding the zealots. And it's S2 is going to move back to a rather defensive position here. These 3 zealots are moving forward, 2 more zealots are leaving the base, and they're going to meet at the natural choke here, which is actually going to be very, very beneficial for Tempest. S2 is now trying to get down a sunken colony, but for now the zealots are going to re-supreme the Maven and start targeting down the hatchery and the creep colony. But the zerglings do get a nice round on one of the zealots, and the zealot will just about manage to get away, but there's enough zerglings here to deal with the zealots. But now with 5 zealots here, it's going to be very difficult, and some of the lings actually get stuck there, so they're going to suffer a lot of problems. And the placement of the sunken is a bit off. It is good to defend against the zealots, but the zealots could move straight up the ramp, and with 2 more zealots coming in, and the expansion nexus of Tempest coming up soon, this 2 gateway zealot pressure is actually doing a decent amount of damage, keeping S2 away from droning. Now resuming drones now, and now finally adding on his gas. With 7 zealots here, it's actually going to be very, very difficult for the amount of lings that S2 has to deal with this. He needs to get a very nice surround, but very good positioning by Tempest actually going to make that impossible. Just using these to completely block off this choke, any form of surround will just get completely annihilated by the zealots. And this allows him to sit back here and get his nexus up perfectly fine. he hasn't actually opted to get any gas yet, knowing he doesn't actually need any. S2's tech is really far behind, and S2 looks like he's just adding on more and more links. He may even go for some form of link bust here. He's actually moving his links out across the map. 7 zealots here and another 4 back here will be able to defend this most likely, but S2 is doing everything he can now to put the pressure back on, although I can't help feel that when he moves out with these links he's forgot these ones here, which could be a problem, but I do believe he needs to start droning again, because with this wall and the cannons going up now, these zerglings are just going to run into a wall of zealots and not really be able to do anything. But it's a very interesting move out from S2 to try and pressure the early pressure from Tempest, which didn't actually do any damage. But for now, he's most likely not going to be able to get much done here. This is really nice positioning. These 2 zealots actually will be able to be surrounded, but it doesn't even matter because there's so many zealots here and they're just going to wall out these zerglings. Zergling's not even doing that much shield damage to any of the zealots, do a little bit of body damage on one of them. But with this cannon finishing, he's going to have to give up on the pressure and just maybe try and contain the Tempest in his base. S2 now going back to adding drones onto his natural finally, and he'll most likely look into teching up very soon. He does have link speed now, which will be beneficial to him, but he's still not going to be able to get through this gap, and with the still Duke here, it looks like he noticed that as well. S2 looks like he's now going to go and send a drone and get his 3rd base, which is very important in this matchup to be 1 base ahead of the Protoss. And it'll be interesting he's actually opting to go and build a 3rd hatchery, or 4th hatchery even, at his mineral only rather than going for another gas base, which makes me believe he's going to be using a lot of high mineral cost units, and especially early on, so we could see a lot more Hydralisks come out from him than Mutalisks. Taking that base if you're going to go for Mutalisks isn't the best of chances, or best of choices. But it looks like where he's spending his money, he doesn't actually have any money to add on the hatchery yet. He's just going to spread out these zerglings a little bit and make it impossible for Tempest to move out across the map. And once again, fearing follow-up attack, he's actually opting to build more cannons just in case. The Stargate is finished, so we will see some Corsairs, and it looks like he's going to go into Zealot leg speed, and most likely his Templar Archives will follow fairly shortly after. Layer now about 75% finished, and from here we'll see the tech choice that he actually opts to make, and as no Hydralisk Den is going up, it does look like he will be going to Spire straight away. The Corsair, there's no actual anti-air here to deal with this Corsair at all whatsoever right now, so the Corsair will just be able to move around and just kill as many Overlords as it wants. It looks like he's going to try and add a creep colony there, a spore colony even, but it's going to actually follow in too late. These 2 Corsairs are actually going to do their work here, take out another Overlord for free, and this is going to heavily supply block S2. S2 actually opting to build a Spire in his main. This will be scouted now, and so will this extra hatchery. All the links are now moving back by S2, which I think is a bit of an odd decision. He could use them to keep up the container a little bit better, and of course he's not going to be able to do anything with the Lings against the Corsairs, so until the Spire's done, he's going to huddle all his Overlords around his Hydralisk Den and his Spore Colony, which is actually hiding under there, which will be very, very good if any DTs were to come that way. He's using a single Ling to scout out whether Tempest leaves his base, and it looks like Tempest is quite content sitting back on his 2 bases. Now adding on High Templars, adding on an extra 3 gateways, and consistently adding on more Corsairs, which will continue to give him air superiority. Somehow this one Overlord has managed to stay alive, and Tempest is now going to move across the map with the Zealots and try and find any extra bases. He's not going to be able to find them in the corner though. I'm unsure if he went to scout them with his Corsairs, but it looks like he's just going to move straight down and try and take out this hatchery, which will have no defense here. There's actually nothing out on the map for S2 to scout that this is coming, and all his Lings are back in his natural, so this hatchery is definitely going to go down. The Lings could try and catch the Zealots as they leave here, but some Mules come out to try and defend this, but it's going to be too late. but the Mulus will help against the Zealot force. And it looks like he's not actually opting to send his Lings to try and intercept these Zealots, which is a bit of an odd decision. He could try and get some extra damage done, but it looks like he's just going to follow with his Mulus until he either meets the Corsairs, which I do believe must have gone down to Scourge, as they don't. Oh no, there we go. There it is, Nexus. But then, yeah, one Archon is actually going to be very dangerous against this Mulus. He's going to have to try and micro them away, but he's microing them straight into the Corsairs, so he needs to get away from the Protoss base as quickly as he can. 2 Scourge is not going to be enough to take out all these Corsairs, and some Corsairs hits go off on the Mulus, which will severely weaken them. And once again, this Zealot Archon force is still just outside of his base, and only now adding on Hydralisk. He's got a nice little wall here, and the Zealots aren't actually going to be able to get in, but with losing his 3rd base, now trying to add another one now, he's actually going to have a hard time defending against this. These 2 Archons are going to do an amazing job against any Zerglings, and they're going to make it very, very difficult for any Mulus to actually come back. The Zealots are having a hard time closing in on the Hydralisk, but these Archons are worth their weight in gold. Have killed so many Zerglings, and the Zealots now up against the Hydralisk are actually going to kill them fairly easily. And this is a good, somewhat of a decent defense. He's not lost many drones, but he has lost most of his units, and even lost most of his overlords. These Corsairs once again doing their work, killing everything they can, and all the Lings in the world are going to find it very, very difficult to actually take out these 2 Archons. And although they will eventually go down, that Archon did get 15 kills before it died, and once again heavily supply blocked is S2. And Tempest looks like he's going to try and take a base up in this top corner. He is now on his 3rd base. He took this 3rd mineral only while he was putting the pressure on. And while he knows the S2 has nothing out on the map to scout, the Lings are going to move up and they will find these Zealots. If they can get a nice surround, they can do a good job, but it looks like they're going to try and bypass the Zealots and get straight into this natural, but no, he actually turns around and goes back towards his main. I've forgotten, yeah, Tempest is doing the best he can to try and take with, if this Hydralisk goes down before Lurk is ready, oh, that's a huge pickup, is, now it's just going to be Lings against, or pretty much just Lings and possibly Mulus until this Hydralisk then is done, against nothing but Zealots and Archons and Storm, and that is not a combination you want against Storm. Lings die so quickly in Storm, and he's going to have a big problem here. He doesn't actually have a 3rd gas yet, and his 3rd base is only just now starting to mine. Tempest is now going to add on cannons up here and just take this natural, and eventually take this extra base. And once again, S2 is going to try and move across the map. He's doing the best he can with these Lings, but he needs to get up his Hydralisk den somewhere, and he needs to do it quickly. But it looks like he's, there we go, it's a little bit late, but he's getting up. And Lings are going to move in on these cannons. They could actually break these cannons. There are enough Lings here. They're not cracklings, obviously. There's no hive, but he'll break the cannons. But these Zealots are going to move in afterwards, and somehow this Hydralisk got up here as well. The Storm does go down, and it takes out the majority of the Zergling forces. But Zerglings are going to take out as many probes as they can. He cannot. He can storm them, but he will just kill all his Zerglings. So, or kill all his probes even. A very nice defense. He does lose the cannons, but they're an easily replaceable commodity, so he'll just rebuild them, and then he'll get going. Once again, with the offense, he's killed most of the units that S2 has, so he's going to use this opportunity now to move across the map. He's using a really nice probe patrol down here to make sure that S2 doesn't take any of these bottom bases, and this hatchery that he's just placed down, I'm not sure if it's been scouted, but if it has, it's going to go down instantly to the forces of Tempest. But once again, S2 using his Lings really well to get around the map, trying to force Tempest back to his base. And these Lings, they're about to run into their death, but they've served their purpose. They've delayed Tempest enough for his Hydralisk den to finish. The Lurkers are nearly finished. If he can get Lurkers up quick enough, he may be able to defend his bases. But this is such a big army that's heading down to his base with Storm, and he has very few units. He's only on 50 supply against 128 of Tempest, so he's going to have a very hard time. This base is going to go down again, and S2 is fighting from very, very far behind now. So he's not even going to try and evacuate the drones. He's going to try and get as much mining done as possible. and he'll try and move in the very meager force he has in behind, but Storm will stop any form of advance. These drones do get taken out trying to run away, and a Storm goes down on the Zerglings and the Hydralisk, and they decimate most of them. Everything else is on like 5 health. So as soon as Tempest decides to move to S2's natural, I think this game could be over. S2 is doing his best to try and add more Sunkens and more units on, but without Lurkers, he's going to have a very, very hard time dealing with this Dragoon and Zealot force. He does have all his Overlords here as well, so if these Corsairs move in, not only is he going to be down in supply, he's going to be supply blocked. And he moves out his Lings, he tries to bait out a Storm, but Tempest doesn't take it. And while the units are still building up, he moves out again, but a huge Storm goes down, kills about 15 Zerglings there, and he moves the Lurkers directly into Storm, and the Lurkers go down instantly. The Lurkers are going to be able to do anything, and Tempest is going to roll into the base of S2. S2 either not opting to GG, or maybe it didn't appear, but there is the GG, and a very nice game by Tempest is actually going to take KT up 1-0 in this set. So as you can see, Tempest does take that, takes their team up 1-0 against SKT. The next game, as explained earlier, will be another PvZ. It will actually be Best versus Yellow, and we'll be back after a short commercial break where it just gives me a chance to sort everything. And I thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon, or shortly.